tonight is an Academy Award-winning actor who has appeared in numerous classic films, including The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, and Tender Mercies. Well, folks, now he has written, produced, directed, and starred in this latest film. It's called The Apostle. Let's take a look. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Academy Award nominee for Best Actor, Robert Duvall. For coming.
Thank you.
Boy, you've got to be excited. I mean, you're up for this Academy Award.
Right.
You're thinking back, I guess, to the last time you won one for Tender Mercies.
That was about 14 to 15 years ago, yeah.
What is that like? I mean, I'm never coming close to anything like that.
Well, you get jammed into a limousine, you know, and your wife is rushing to get dressed, and so by the time you get there, you don't have a time to go to the bathroom, seriously. So the whole time I waited, and when I won my Oscar, I stuck it on top of the urinal, and that was it.
Wait a minute, you had to go to the bathroom? Did you cut your speech short?
No, for 3 hours. I literally, I was nervous whether I was going to win or not, but I was so concerned about that I had to go to the bathroom. It was like a double agenda the whole evening. It's an amazing phenomenon, but...
So you run up there,
evening, yeah.
You got it, and then you ran right to the men's room?
Directly. Directly. Put it right up there. It was like I was, but it was a wonderful evening, you know, wonderful thing, you know, and they say it makes a lot of difference. I think the only thing that made any difference, really, you get a little more recognition in airports, really, you know. It's like, it's not, they tried to use it as leverage to get my Preacher film off the ground, because I had the script way back then, but it really didn't help.
The fact that you had an Oscar did not help you?
A bit. I couldn't get one dime out of Los Angeles, New York, Dallas, Chicago, or anything.
Where'd you get the money then?
Sure. Me.
You put your own money into this?
Every cent.
Well, it
I
sure...
got it back, though, from October Films. They're great.
Well, I mean,
Scott
I think...
Greenstein sitting out back. I got it back. These guys are great.
Well, I mean, because things have certainly worked out for you with this film. I saw the movie. It's amazing, and I understand you spent a lot of time with authentic preachers.
For years.
For years.
For years.
Did any of those guys, when you were hanging out with them, try to convert you, try to save you?
Well, not so much directly, but more indirectly. But there was one guy working on me indirectly to get to the back room to make it directly. But I knew it was never going to happen, because he was sitting in his chair. I was there, and a guy literally came in from the parking lot, got down on one knee, and said to the guy, "I've just parked your Rolls Royce out in the back," and gave him the key. So I decided I didn't want to get saved by somebody who paraded around in a Rolls Royce.
See, that's the reason I would want to be saved by. I think this guy knows what he's doing. Maybe there's one of those for me.
That's what they claim. Once you do it, you become affluent. But, you know, it wasn't for me. But you find a majority of these men and women are wonderful people. And
you put some of them, you put authentic preachers, and there's one scene I'm thinking of in particular in sort of a revival tent.
A tag team preaching scene, like tag wrestling. It's like tag team preaching. I put the real guys in there. And during that, I was down in Nashville, and Paul Baggett told me the other day, he said there were 7 conversions during that scene when we filmed I didn't know about. One of the Teamsters on the way back had an experience, and all the preachers jumped on him and saved him right on the spot.
So crewmen are being saved.
Somewhat. Yeah.
Yeah, it probably maybe doesn't take hold for long, but they get saved in the moment. What is it like to try and direct actual preachers while they're doing their thing, while they're jumping around?
Well, this scene you just saw in that particular thing, we just rolled the camera and we kept rolling and rolling for 12-minute magazines, and I would run around and keep doing the same bit of it. So always the camera was accommodating us rather than our having to accommodate the actors. I mean, the camera. So therefore, when I directed I just let them do what they did.
Yeah.
And we edited it down. We had enough cutaways we could edit it down, but I just let them preach, because you really can't stop them and yell cut when they're praising the Lord.
Yeah, you can't say stop praising the Lord to people. They get mad. Yeah. Stop that. We're having lunch now.
Right, exactly. But I got the real guys, and it pays off, you know, because I took the real people from the churches, and when you got them right and made them the equivalent of professional actors, when they were right, and to get the one performance out of them of their lifetime, then they put the professional actor on notice, because as far as purity goes, because they're wonderful.
I'm thinking of the character, the radio DJ. I understand that he is not a professional actor. He's been in one other film.
Sling Blade, right. Ricky Dial. I was with him last night in Dallas. He's a very unusual guy, very, very talented guy. Billy Bob Thornton found him, and I put him in my film. and it was wonderful. But
what does he do for a living?
Well, he sells furniture, and we literally had to work around his schedule because he would go back and forth between, in Louisiana there to Malvern, Arkansas. He had to get ready for the spring and for the summer and fall sale. So we had to work around the fall sale.
So you stopped shooting so that he can move some bureau
we
drawers.
did some other things. Yeah, exactly. And this guy can sell anything. This guy's he's a brilliant natural actor, you know. So the last night I wanted to put him in the final scene, and I thought he was selling furniture in Malvern, Arkansas. Somebody said, "No, Ricky's at the motel." I said, "Well, put him in the scene."
Yeah.
And then when they take me off at the end, the police, I said to Rick afterwards, after we cut, I said, "Your skin turned another color of grief. How did you do that?" I mean, the guy's a great natural actor.
He is terrific in the movie.
And he's one.
But that's impressive. Now I want to go buy furniture from him. You know, I want to.
Well, take your pocketbook because he knows how to sell.
Okay, I'll watch out for him. Can we take one quick break? We'll come back in a minute. There's so much more to talk about with Robert Duvall, so stick around. We'll see you in a minute. Duvall, and I got to ask you, you've done so many movies that we could reference. Apocalypse Now, of course.
Yeah.
Actors are always looking for that line that they can say that'll be immortalized. And when you said, "I love the smell of napalm in the morning," it just reverberated. People will remember it forever.
People come up to me and they'll corner me, and they'll say it as if only I and them
understand.
We're the only ones in the world that ever heard it.
They're like, "Wink, huh?"
Yeah, right.
You other people won't get it because it was only shown on a million screens.
I know. It was a great experience.
Were there? I heard somewhere once that there were other scenes that you did that you thought also were at least that interesting, but they didn't make it into the movie. Is there anything you can remember?
Well, two in particular. One that they should have left in, but they didn't. I don't know, for certain political influences, but that's another thing. But the one that was kind of interesting, that when we filmed it, it was different from rehearsal. We always try to make things a little fresher and different. So I took the megaphone and I said four-letter word and I threw it in the air and I walked away because the surf wasn't right. I threw this thing way up, this expensive mic, way up in the air, and I walked away and Coppola yelled, "Cut!" He comes running over and said, "That was terrific. You never did it before in rehearsal. Well, it's great what you did, but where'd you get the idea?" I said, "Well, I just imitated you throwing a tantrum." And he gave me the finger and walked away.
And then it wasn't was it?
Yeah, but he's great to work with, though, Frank.
Speaking of him, we've had him on the show a few times, and we always end up talking about The Godfather.
Sleeping giant. You know, if you don't like all these films now, look out, because he can wake up any day and make something great.
And make an amazing film.
Well, look out. Yeah.
Godfather 3, I wanted to bring up. That's a movie that you did not show up for, that you didn't come along for that one.
Well,
you did Godfather 1 and 2, but you didn't do 3.
The per diem wasn't right. The per diem wasn't high enough.
They didn't come across there?
Yeah, well, everybody was doing it for money. Come on, Francis. Everybody was doing it for money, so, you know, pay. So if they're not going to pay, I'm not going to do it, you know, because everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing it for that.
I know.
Why kid yourself?
Yeah.
Why kid yourself? You know?
Did Coppola try and twist your arm? Because I heard he really wanted you in the movie.
Francis drove to my farm in Virginia. I was there alone that day. He parked his limo. The guy waited. He came in, you know, and I said, before he wanted me to be in Godfather. I said, wait a minute. Before we talk, pull up a chair. I'm cooking here. I'm going to cook my mother's Maryland crab cake recipe. This is still the best I've ever had. And he's been waiting for years to get it. So I cooked it for him, and he went crazy for it. So I wrote it down for him and everything. And when he left, we talked about the film, and I said I didn't know if I'd do it, and he forgot the recipe. He called twice. He was more concerned about that recipe than would I do Godfather 3.
And did he ever get it from you? Did he ever try and make them?
He said, I made them in Rome when you went there, and they were just as good. I said, no, they weren't. but you know.
You're taunting him all the time.
Right.
You could drive him mad with that recipe.
He loves to eat. You know, but, you know, everything's fine now. I've seen him since. He's a great guy. He's a great guy.
You've had amazing, I won't say good fortune, because it's obviously not that, but you've done some great work in with westerns. I mean, Lonesome Dove I thought was amazing. You know, and we're talking about a TV movie, but it was an amazing piece of work.
That's my favorite.
That's your favorite?
When I finished Lonesome Dove, I said, I think I can retire now. I said, let the English play Hamlet and King Lear. I will play Augustus McCrae.
That's an amazing
part. It's a
part.
great part, and people said, when's there going to be another one? I said, not for another 100 years.
Yeah.
Those parts just don't come along, you know. And last night, I was signing things in Dallas. We were doing publicity, and a woman said, oh, I loved you in Lonesome Dove. She said, I love the way you sit a horse. And I said, well, that's fine, but, you know, I don't ride much anymore because then I had a couple of accidents, and you know, the older you get, you got to be careful, you know, so.
Did, I understand that you have, speaking Westerns, you have an uncle who was a real Western rancher?
Well, I had an uncle, H.B. Prescott. His father went out west, and they ran 90,000 head of sheep from Helena, Montana, back to North Dakota without fences. And then eventually they had cattle and sheep, and he had ranches all over Montana and Idaho.
Now, he must have been he's the real authentic McCoy.
Absolutely.
What did he think of your movies? Did he ever go see any of your...
He saw a few of my movies, and I think he was proud. He was, you know, men don't communicate as well as women do, but my aunt did tell me that he went to this little theater up there in western Montana to see The Godfather. When Godfather 1 played, and he's sitting there, he was a little hard of hearing, so he speaks loudly, you know. And halfway through the movie, with everybody there, he said, I'd rather see a good John Wayne Western, he said. He kind of yelled out. So right in the middle of this...
Thanks, Uncle.
Right in the middle of this Eastern, you know.
So, well, The Apostle is at theaters now, and I think everyone now who hasn't seen it is going to turn out to see it.
Yeah.
And you're the special guest on Saturday Night Live this week with host Garth Brooks.
Right.
And congratulations on the Oscar nomination, and a thrill to meet you. Thanks so much for making time for us.
Thank you very much.
Robert Duvall, everybody. We'll take a break. Bill Bellamy coming up. We'll be right back.